Hi, I'm CF3 Loyal, still staying at home every other Saturday, despite teams south of the border returning to action this month, and of course in Denmark, where Michael Beale credited it is an example to smaller leagues. Very subtle, Mick. I'm bringing you the quintessential Rangers vlog as we summarise the previous 6 squad review videos, and I'll follow this up with a follow-up video next week to answer the question, what do Rangers need to win the league next season? Harry Redknapp recently said on TalkSport there was no secret to getting better results when he took over at Spurs. Good players win football matches. So let's start with a very lengthy summary of our first team squad. In goals, our number one, in my goalkeeper review I stated that Alan McGregor would be our number one choice for the next 12 months, but it was the number two that I debated. We've seen Wes Foderingham and Jack Annick leave at the end of their contracts, and it was good to get some opposing views on where Robbie McCrorie will be playing his football next season. Some saying that he'd be better staying at Rangers next season to learn from McGregor, possibly playing in the cup matches, but I still believe that his development would be better enhanced playing first team football in a top flight club next season, with Livingston a definite possibility. I said that we would sign a second choice goalkeeper, and this week Stuart Robertson suggested that further signings would be imminent. I recently tweeted that I think our initial signings will be players at the end of their contract and or those playing in leagues that have finished prematurely. One player that meets that criteria and has gathered a bit of momentum this week is Vaclav Hladky. Jamie Langfield confirmed his departure from St Mirren on Twitter and referred to him as one of the nicest persons he's met in football and the best goalkeeper he has worked with in his entire career. His agent then said that he expects to confirm his next club as soon as possible, so I think that's one to keep an eye on. Third choice, I said, would be Andy Firth. Defence. At right back, I said that first choice would be James Tavernier. My comment that Tav is the best right back in the league sparked the most heat on my newsfeed, but I stand by that comment. We spoke about his leadership in my last video. We're not going to talk about that today. I'm going to focus on that in my next video when I look at what do Rangers need to win the league next season. Second choice, again I said in my fullback video that I predicted that Ross McCrorie would be our second choice right back, with Matt Polster leaving the club permanently and Nathan Patterson being loaned out. Firstly, it was good to see Ross McCrorie confirm tonight that he will be playing in the League One playoffs with Portsmouth. We wish him and them the very best of luck. But we've been linked with another young Leicester fullback, Dennis Gyaamfi. I tweeted at the time that I didn't think we needed Gyaamfi, as right back is not a priority position. However, after some debate, I would agree that if you have the opportunity to sign another top young talent out of contract and benefiting from the cross-border transfer policy who is better than our existing players already, we should absolutely do it. It's a policy that I think we have a great opportunity to exploit and benefit from, and I've already done so in this window, which I'll come on to, and in the last window with Joe Aribo. One thing I'm sure we can all agree on is it's a very big summer ahead for Ross McCrorie. Let me know in the comments section what your thoughts on Ross McCrorie are. Is he and should he be in Steven Gerrard's plans for next season? At centre back, first choice, one of the things I said in my video was I don't think we have to sign anyone for our first choice defence. I predicted that our centre back pairing would be Goldson and Helander. Then less than 24 hours later, Connor Goldson was linked with a move to West Ham. I did caveat my comment in the last video that every player has a price tag, and if we do receive a suitable bid from West Ham, we may look to take it. Connor Goldson has 2 years left to run in his existing contract, and unless I'm mistaken, he hasn't signed a new deal since joining the club, and we won't want to see him go into next season with only 12 months left in his contract. If Goldson does move on, then we need to replace him with a first choice centre back. One player who's been linked is Jake Cooper of Millwall, and it's probably an easy rumour to start as he was Steven Gerrard's #1 transfer target when he first took over the club. Personally, I don't think Jake Cooper would be Connor Goldson's replacement because he is a left-sided left centre back. Left-footed left-sided left centre back. The same as Philippe Halander and George Edmondson. I think if Connor Goldson does go, we will replace him with a right-sided centre back, someone with experience, leadership, and a match-winning know-how. From a second choice perspective to Goldson and Halander, we have some very good young centre backs, including Nico Katic and George Edmondson. It's great to see Nico working very hard over the summer and uploading pictures looking like the Terminator. I called out that we do also have young Lewis Mayo, who I expect to be loaned out for another 12 months, hopefully to a top flight team. The one caveat to that is if Rangers Colts are accepted into the third division, we may see some of our top young players play together in the lower leagues of Scottish football. One name that has cropped up again is John Souttar. If we did sign John Souttar, I wouldn't expect him to come in as a first choice centre back, but we were linked with him last summer before we signed George Edmondson, and Hearts prices out of a deal. He didn't have a great season last year with Hearts as he was hampered by injury, but I'm sure we'll be monitoring the situation at Hearts very closely and take advantage if they are relegated to the Championship. Left back, first choice is Borna Barisic, Croatian #1 left back. Again, there's been some rumoured interest in Borna. I hope to see him in a Rangers jersey for the next 12 months. Get through the season, let him have a good Euros, and then consider selling him with an inflated valuation afterwards. Second choice, I said in my last video that we needed someone to challenge Borna following the departures of Halliday and Flanagan, and we have. Our third signing so far this window is Calvin Bassey from Leicester on a cross-border deal believed to be around £200,000 compensation. The deal came out of nowhere, which I love to see, and I think it's something we might see more of. In all my videos, I've mentioned rumours that have surfaced both in the media and in the interest, but I think it's probably likely, with the likes of Ross Wilson involved, that we will continue to pull the rabbit out of the hat and announce players that potentially none of us have even heard of. Calvin Bassey is young at 20 years of age, and he's versatile as he can play at left back and left centre back. I haven't seen enough of him play, other than a few YouTube clips after he signed, but there has been the usual excitement about a new signing, particularly as he's young, and he had rumoured interest from top teams, including Bayer Leverkusen. I hope he's good, I'm sure we all do, as we need a strong squad going into next season to challenge in 4 competitions whenever they may start. I think we'll loan out young James Maxwell as well, who's also a left back in the squad, possibly to a Championship side. Central midfield. I said in my last video that I think central midfield is a real priority position for us to strengthen this summer, and I stand by that. I'd like to see us go ahead and sign 2 new centre mids who will give us the ability to play a different style depending on the opposition. At home, against the so-called weaker teams, we may deploy a slightly more attacking midfield 3 than Kamara, Jack and Davis. It would also give us the ability to change our formation in-game from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1 if we're struggling to break down deep-lying defences. Whereas away, particularly in games such as Celtic Park, Pittodrie and the Europa League, we may go with that more defensive shape. Arguably, our first choice midfield 3 is currently Jack, Davis and Kamara, with Arfield coming into the midfield for Kamara in the games where we deploy more offensively. I said in my last video that we may only see Ryan Jack from those 4 first choice midfield 3 next season. If we do get a good offer for Glenn Kamara, with rumoured interest from clubs such as Marseille, I said that I would accept, but I was possibly a bit harsh on Glenn Kamara in my first video, as it was pointed out to me. He doesn't contribute enough in the final third, but he does really protect the defence, particularly on the left-hand side when Borna Barisic goes forward. If we do sell Kamara, it'll be for good money, and I would like to see us replace him with a tough tackling central midfield player. I think we may see Stephen Davis become more involved as a squad player next season. If we're going down the route of a 4-3-3, I think we'll play a traditional number 6 and 2 number 8s. I've already said that I'd like to see us sign a number 6, and I've already said I think we've got a good number 8 who I expect to be in the first team next season, and that's Ryan Jack. I've also already said that I'd like to see us sign 2 centre mids this summer, and I'm going to give you an exclusive in this video. A name that's not been mentioned anywhere yet in the media or in social media. I understand that Rangers are currently monitoring the situation at Norwich, who are sitting bottom of the English Premiership. If Norwich are relegated, I understand that Kenny McLean has a number of clauses in his contract. I also understand that Rangers have been monitoring Kenny McLean very closely. Kenny McLean is a number 8. He describes himself as a box-to-box midfielder, but someone who plays more middle to front. And we've seen both at Norwich and at Aberdeen, and even at St Mirren before that he is capable of chipping in with goals and assists. He has a good range of shooting, he's good in the air, and he can take a penalty. I'm sure we all know that Kenny McLean is a blue nose and would love to play for our club. That's certainly one to watch. Another name that's been mentioned this week is ex-Celtic and current Southampton midfielder Stuart Armstrong. But I'm going to pause on Stuart Armstrong for now and come back to him when we talk about our number 10s. Rangers currently have a large number of central midfielders in our squad. I'd like to see us go into next season with Ryan Jack, a defensive-minded centre mid, another number 8, somebody who's more middle to front, Stephen Davis, Scott Arfield, and a name I've not mentioned yet, Joe Aribo. I think for Joe Aribo, he can cover both in that central midfield role as well as in number 10 role, as we've seen various times last season, and I'll come on to. That would then see us sell Glenn Kamara, Doherty, Cammy Palmer, and we've already seen Jason Holt and Jordan Roster leave. I mentioned Jamie Burjonis and Stephen Kelly in my last video, that I would like to see them both loaned out to a top flight team to see if they merit a place in the Rangers team long term. And it was interesting to see some of the comments come in, particularly regarding young Stephen Kelly, who was named Ayr United Young Player of the Season after making 31 appearances for the club and scoring 6 goals. The Ayr United fans affectionately nicknamed him the Scottish De Bruyne and heaped massive praise on him. And we can't keep everyone, unfortunately, and that's why I think we'll see them loaned out, and he could be the perfect replacement for Stephen Davis in 12 months' time if he retires or moves on. But I do have a special shout out to finish in central midfield for young Charlie Lindsay, who we confirmed as our second signing this window. Probably too early to see Charlie Lindsay in the first team next season, but with endorsements from players such as Stephen Davis, I think it's a testament to just how talented Charlie Lindsay is and could be for us. I think in years to come, we may look back at Charlie Lindsay as our best piece of transfer business in the summer of 2020-2021. Next up is our number 10s. On the left, we have Ryan Kent. We also have a number of players who are simply not good enough and we will likely see move on. We've already seen Florian Kamberi and Shea Ojo return to their parent clubs, but we still have Greg Stewart, Barker, Hasty, Murphy, Jones, Middleton and McPake, who I personally would be surprised to see any of them in a Rangers jersey next season, with potentially the last 2 being loaned out. I mentioned in my number 10 review video that I would like to see us sign somebody to challenge Ryan Kent, somebody that offers something differently, and I quoted Matic Vidra. But the name I mentioned earlier today, which is a new rumour since then, is Stuart Armstrong, and that's a position that he could certainly play. We were linked with Stuart Armstrong in January. There was rumours that he wanted to come back up north, and his agent offered him to us and to them. There are obvious Ross Wilson links. The story in January was that we were interested but couldn't agree a fee with Southampton. But given their rumoured financial difficulties, this could now be an option available to us. We do know from his time at Celtic that he is very capable of chipping in the final third, scoring against us. Let me know your thoughts on Stuart Armstrong. Do you think he's good enough? But would him previously playing for Celtic bother you? On the right, we have Yanis Hadji, officially confirmed as a Rangers player for a reduced fee given the current situation. The first signing, I believe, in European football following COVID-19, and it's a real signal of intent from the club. He was linked with a number of clubs across Europe and was rumoured to have spoke to Jose Mourinho at Spurs, but chose Rangers because he said he felt at home and loved everything about our club. Meanwhile, our noisy neighbours in the East End are releasing players that they promise new contracts and are unable to agree transfer fees for arguably one of their best players that was on loan last season. It's not so bad for a club with no money, is it? I think massive credit to all parties involved, Ross Wilson, Steven Gerrard, the club, the board, but mostly the player himself for coming to Rangers. I loved his comments on Heart and Hand. He's definitely a player who wants to be here and he wants to win. He doesn't care where he's played in the pitch, as long as he's on the pitch and he can do his stuff. And it's really refreshing to hear a player talk like that, and I can see why Steven Gerrard loved working with him so much. Second choice, I mentioned already that Joe Aribo can play there, but I just have a feeling that we might be looking for a different option on the right hand side of number 10. Since my video, we've been linked with a couple of players, including Manuel Benson from Belgium. He's a pacey winger and would offer something different to Yanis Hadji. One of the things about Hadji is if a 4-3-3 isn't working in a game, we could absolutely move him into a more central number 10 role and play a 4-2-3-1, where I think he is probably more naturally suited. I could see us signing someone pacey, direct to play in games where we are expected to win, and that might allow us to play Hadji in that more central role. Another name linked this week is Ryan Brewster, on loan, another Liverpool youngster. Some people may roll their eyes at that rumour, but Ryan Brewster is a top talent. His ability to play anywhere across that front three will appeal to Steven Gerrard. He meets the criteria of a pacey and direct player who can contribute in the final third, as he scored 4 in 11 for Swansea this year, on loan since joining in January. We don't have a bottomless pit of money, so we need to shop smart, and one way of being able to do that that's obvious is utilising the loan system. This week, Jordan Campbell reported in The Athletic that Kai Kennedy Steven Gerrard is looking to utilise Kai Kennedy in the squad next season, but it's disappointing to hear that we are in discussions about a new contract, but apparently far off of a deal as he's running into the last 12 months of his contract. I said in my video that Kai Kennedy is a top talent, and I do really hope we can tie him down. Centre forward, our number one centre forward is Alfredo Morelos. Joint top goal scorer in the Europa League with 6 goals. We all know how important he is for the club. He just needs to get that goal against Celtic to boost his own confidence and silence some of the doubters, mostly from across the other side of the city. I said in my last video that the club set a price tag on Alfredo, and I expect him to still be here unless that price tag is matched. We'll likely go into the next season with 3 centre forwards, and one of those will be Jermaine Defoe. Jermaine was second top goal scorer in the league last season with an impressive 77 minutes per goal ratio, compared to Odson-Edouard's 96 minutes per goal. But I do think we'll sign a third option. We've been linked with a few already, including Saido Berahino since my last video. Berahino was a top talent at one point linked with Spurs, and we were linked with him under Warburton, but he's never fulfilled his potential. And Glenn Johnson was scathing of his character in a TalkSport interview a few years ago. I really don't want us to touch Saido Berahino. I'm worried that players like that would disrupt our harmony. Momentum has also gathered with Lyle Taylor after Lee Boyer said that he's set to make a life-changing move, but I still stand by my comment that I don't think Lyle Taylor will be a Rangers player next season for two reasons. One, it's now rumoured that Galatasaray are interested in Lyle Taylor and willing to quadruple his wages. That's life-changing. But secondly, I still think we'll sign a target man to offer us something different in the games where we are just unable to break down defences. And one target man that has been linked is Lyndon Dykes, but Livingston have put a rumoured £2 million price tag on him, which seems very, very steep. So, to summarise, I have calculated that we will see a total of 27 players leave this summer. That includes players leaving at the end of their contract, returning from loan to their parent clubs, and our own players going out on loan. If we do sell players such as Glenn Kamara, Jordan Jones, Jamie Murphy, Brandon Barker and Greg Docherty, we could see us bring in a transfer fee of up to £9 million. And in total, from all those players leaving, we could free up an estimated £120,000 to £150,000 per week in wages. That, plus any further potential investment, could be spent on us signing the players that I've mentioned before: second choice goalkeeper, two central midfielders, a right and a left number 10, and a target man on top of the already recruited Yanis Hadji, Charlie Lindsay and Calvin Bassey. When you look at that, and our desire as supporters to challenge Celtic and stop the asterisk 10 in a row, it's clear why Stuart Robertson and the club are pushing for supporters to renew their season tickets, not take up the £25 voucher from last season's missed games, and sign up to My Jers. I'm going to follow up this video with another one answering the question, what do Rangers need to do to win the league next season? Let me know your comments if you think the squad that I've just mentioned before would be good enough to win the league. But also, what else do you think we need to do to win the league? Spoiler alert, I'm going to have a number of references again to Class of 92. And after watching The Last Dance recently on Netflix, there's going to be some references in there to The Last Dance and Michael Jordan. I'm CF3 Loyal. Stay safe, stay staunch.